Hey, back again, and guess what? It is another episode of Season 11, because that's what we're doing here. Actually, it's going to be the second to last episode for Season 11, because I've already technically done Episode 8, which is ISFP compared to INFPs. So if you're members of the audience and you're already looking for that, guess what? It already is done. All you have to do is go to the playlist, and then Season 11, and then it's like the final lecture in the list, and you're good to go. So we're just trying to make sure that this series is done real quick. I am going to be in Denver, and I just want to get this out right before I go to Denver. And then I think while I'm at Denver, I'm probably going to be doing another episode again. So awesome, we're just going to keep cranking them out here because I'm a madman dressed in black and probably trying to cast for a movie or something, but I don't think I even want to do that. Oh wait, I'm in my own movies, so no need for that. Anyway, this is Season 11, Episode 6. How do ISTPs compare to INTPs? I've actually been waiting to do this particular lecture for a long time, and I'm very excited to be able to do that with you folks tonight because I love both these types. These types are the TI heroes. These types are the logic busters. These types are smarter than me. Yeah, that's a fact. They are actually smarter than me. And I'm cool with that, and I like being around them because they just make me better in a lot of ways. And we're going to be talking about how that is and how they're super mega useful in every way. But before then, don't forget, doing a giveaway of this book, People Patterns by Stephen Montgomery, PhD. In order to enter, all you have to do is be a subscriber and hit the like button and leave a comment on this particular lecture. Also, those of you who are concerned of whether or not I could ship to insane countries way out and off the distance that are outside of the reach of Amazon, hopefully you guys can get the Kindle app because we will give you the electronic version if we're not able to get you the physical version. So just be aware of that. We're definitely willing to work with you if all of a sudden you realize that you're screwed and we're not able to deliver there. And I hope that never happens, but just in case, that's why God invented electronic books. So let's go with it. Awesome. So with that being said, let's get down to it. Trying to keep this one a little bit short, but you know me, it could probably be 2 hours long. No, really, not doing 2 hours tonight. I already did a 2 hour long presentation earlier tonight at a training, and that was crazy, in downtown Silicon Valley at one of the largest tech firms in the area. So a lot of fun, a lot of people, but definitely not what I want to be replicating for this lecture tonight. So anyway, that being said, let's talk about the ISTP and the INTP. So both types, different interaction styles and different temperaments. Interaction styles for the ISTP aka the craftsman, also known as the crafts girl for those that are females and are watching this lecture. Direct, responding, movement. They say what they mean what they say. They are responding because they are introverted like the INTP, and they are movement, and they care about progress. They need progress. Without progress, they will tear their hair out, and they will probably destroy things, preferably with maybe a car or a hammer. Or actually, if you're my ISTP grandfather, he would have used a dozer, and I really liked riding that dozer. I haven't started, when I was a little boy, I got in that dozer without him looking, and I turned it on without him looking. Oh, he was the most pissed off human being you ever met. And I will never cross that man because one time he spanked me with the belt and I never crossed him ever again. But come on, this guy's super old-fashioned. He grew up during the Great Depression. So may he rest in peace. I miss my grandfather, and he's a fantastic individual. And what he did with our home, our family home, family name home, that is, the homestead as it were, he completely just cultivated it and turned it into a forest, into this awesome, amazing oasis meadow thing in between a forest on an island in the Pacific, which is really awesome. And when I mean in the Pacific, I mean the San Juan Islands in Washington State. Anyway, that being said, they're also freedom-based creators. They are artisans, and artisans are pragmatic. They focus on what works. Just like INTPs, that's how people get confused between the two of them, because they're both focused on doing what works. The INTP though is actually systematic, whereas the ISTP is more interest-based, always being like, okay, well, what's in it for you? What's in it for me? Like, what's the intention here? What are we trying to do here, right? Whereas the INTP is just trying to work with a framework. Okay, what's the system? Do we need to develop a system to make this work? Is there a framework? Is there a set of rules we need to follow in this regard? And that's not like social rules or social conventions. It's like process. That's what I'm talking about. Is there a process? Is there a formula we need to follow? Systematic means very formulaic, and guess what? INTPs are very formulaic, whereas ISTPs are not formulaic, and INTJs are formulaic, whereas the ISTP is not formulaic at all. So just be aware of that. ISTPs, live in the moment, freedom-based creator, have that mechanical mastery as an artisan. INTPs do not have that mechanical mastery. And let's see here. They're very focused. ISTPs can be very focused, whereas INTPs can like not be really focused, and that can be an issue. Let's see here. What other things am I missing? Because I'm like really tired right now, and I'm having a hard time accessing my introverted sensing, because when I get really, really tired, I end up in my INTJ shadow, and I end up being more in the moment instead of like more in the past, and then it's harder for me to actually remember things. So I'll do my best. So yeah, what works versus what's right, and they're both focused on what's worth. However, the ISTP is very concrete, so they're focused on the what is, whereas the INTP is very abstract, and they're focused on the what if, all about the what if. Whereas like the what is, it's like, hey, what are you doing? I mean, the ISTP is looking at other people and like, hey, what are you doing all the time? You know, even to the point where they can kind of be like pseudo creepy, because for some reason ISTPs like really love surveillance equipment, and especially when they're like in charge of people under them, like they're the supervisor and whatnot, and they're like supervising by keeping track of everyone through surveillance equipment. I don't know how many times my former ISTP boss was like totally creeping around on surveillance equipment at the job, and it's like they would always deny it and never believe that that's like really a thing. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm supervising. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, but like all the coworkers, talk crap about him behind his back. It's like, wow, that guy is like such a creeper right now. And it's funny because STPs all about accusing everyone else for being creepers, when in reality, out of all the types, they can kind of be the biggest creepers of all the types. Kind of funny how that works. Hashtag hypocrites. But guess what? Every type has its own form of hypocrisy, and well, that could be an issue, right? Every type has its own form of hypocrisy. Everyone is a hypocrite. Didn't know that, did you? Well, guess what? We're going to be doing a lecture series on hypocrisy and how that affects the types and how it manifests in each of the types. So that just happens to be what it is for the ISTP. So there you go. We had systematic versus interest-based, concrete and abstract, whereas the INTP is very abstract, focused on the what if, what's possible, etc. And we already talked about what works versus what's right, and they're both what works, which is pragmatic. So fair enough. Great. We understand their temperaments now. Artisan versus the intellectual. Okay. So artisan, freedom-based creator. Intellectual, very ingenious, very theoretical, and that is the INTP. So the INTP is the theoretical one, and the ISTP is the concrete, what is actually happening, what is reality, aka the realist. Okay. ISTPs are very realist. And even some people would say ESTPs are like the most realist of all the types. This is why I'm like, yeah, this is why Donald Trump is not an ESTP. He's not really a realist compared to the people that actually are realists, right? So let's be honest. I mean, an ISTP is more real than Donald Trump, so come on. I mean, if you haven't seen my argument as to why Donald Trump is not an ESTP, I did a stream about that recently, so maybe you should go check that out. It's in the How to Type season 20, I believe, episode 1. So check that out so you can understand that. Anyway, let's look at the cognitive functions here. Hero TI, yes, both these types have Hero TI. They are insanely good at thinking. Just imagine this is like the biggest CPU you have ever seen in your life. Mentally, this is a gigantic CPU. Huge, constantly processing. And this right here, extroverted sensing, this is the RAM. It's like a computer. Absolutely awesome. However, over here, we have TI Hero, okay? and we got that CPU going. But then on this SI child, we have hard drive. Very little RAM, very big hard drive. A small hard drive, but think about it. This type actually has more sensory capability than the INTP. Why is that? Well, because you have SE parent and you have SI critic. They technically have mastery over the sensing realm because they have a critic function and a parent function working together in both S realms simultaneously. The INTP does not have that advantage with sensing because it's just SI child. And then when you go below the critic and it's the trickster, it's kind of like, or trickster or demon, it's just like, not really. However, the INTP has mastery over the metaphysical realm. Why is that? Because you have a parental intuitive function, and you have a critic intuitive function. So in the same way the ISTP has mastery over the what is, the INTP has mastery over the what if. And this is how they're able to use their ingenuity, and they are literally the engineers. We'll just write it down here. They engineer solutions. It's awesome. They just put things, they see how things fit together. Metaphysically, the possibility things, they're all about solving puzzles. Engineers are all about solving puzzles. INTPs solve puzzles. That's how they craft their solutions, because puzzles are still systematic. There's a system behind the puzzle. The ISTP takes a completely different approach. How do they do it? Well, they do crafting. They craft it. That's why they're called the craftsmen. It's all about crafting. You know, and I could like totally talk about World of Warcraft right now, and yeah, not going to. But yeah, they're all about crafting. They're crafting a solution. So think about it this way. ISTPs, they work forwards. So they like to build something up, right? Whereas INTPs work backwards. They see something, what it's supposed to look like, and then they build it backwards. They're always trying to get to 0. They're always trying to get to home. They're always trying to get to 1, right? After seeing what it's going to look in the end and then getting to that point. Whereas the ISTP does it the other way around. They see, okay, wow, I'm just going to start building and see what happens, and then all of a sudden it just starts coming to them, and then they're able to build it as it goes, right? And then they have a finished creation, right? Whereas the INTP could see the finished creation ahead of time, and then they have to work backwards. ISTPs see this finished creation ahead of time, but they work forwards, right? It's completely different. So if they're like building a building, right, they are going to build it backwards. They're going to build it forwards. And guess what? When these two come together and one's building it backwards and one's building it forwards, they trigger each other so much, and it ends up becoming a TI hero, you know, dick comparison contest. And it's like, hey, who can helicopter dick the most? Oh yeah, get that lasso. We're helicopter dicking around. You know what I mean? And it's just like, guys, seriously, stop. Stop. You're both technically right. Yeah, don't ever tell that to an INTP and an ISTP at the same time in the same room, because then all of a sudden you're the enemy, and instead of throwing stuff at each other, you're the one they're chucking stuff at. Yeah, you probably want to leave as soon as possible. That's what I do. I just kind of let them hash it out. And then when they come out of the room, there's a lot of, you know, bones crushed and bruises and everything as to whose TI is better than the other. Yeah, whatever. But then again, I mean, the INTP just goes full apathy mode and just takes the hits, and it's like, I'm just going to outlast you, little ISTP, until your little fire burns out, etc. And then the ISTP's like really tired. You know, I laid into them. I gave them all the biggest blows I possibly could. I even went Super Saiyan, but you know, it's just like, yeah, well, nice Super Saiyan there. I'm the INTP, and you know, I'm just going to use my insane Naruto Jutsu that is just going to like absorb all of your abilities, and nothing bad's going to really happen to me anyway. Nice hits though. I mean, wow. I'm really tired if I'm using like that many anime references like crazy. Probably shouldn't, especially like on an ISTP vid. Oh, don't hate me, ISTPs, even though I know that you kind of secretly do. It's okay. I already accept that I annoy the hell out of ISTPs. I try not to, but I mean, sue me. It's what I do, and I can't help it. And I always end up loving ISTPs because I love ISTPs so much, but they hate me. Well, that's my problem. I always end up loving people that hate me in the long run. So anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, TI Hero, it's all about processing. It's literally, they have the best processing power out of all the types. They can outthink all of the other types. Every single one of them. These two are the ones that do it. They can outthink everyone. When you try to compete them against each other, it really is the situation. Is it a metaphysical situation? Okay, the INTP is going to win. If it's a reality-based situation, the ISTP is going to win. Of course, when you put them in the opposite situation, they just deny that that's even really a situation. Because in a metaphysical situation, the ISTP is going to deny it and be like, this isn't even real. Why am I wasting my time? Or if you put it in the INTP situation, in a reality-based situation, it's like, there's nothing, none of this is going to work. None of this is even possible. I'm just going to leave, right? And it's like, okay, that's so weird, but that's what they do. So it's best to like kind of keep them separated and not at each other's throats, if you know what I mean, because that is not exactly productive. Try to keep them sequestered as much as you can and kind of let them, you know, tell them what you want them to make you or build for you or design for you or engineer for you. And then after doing that, you just kind of let them do it their own way. A very important thing that my ESTP mentor taught me, who, funnily enough, thinks he's an ISTP, one thing that he taught me is that, you know, the sweeper chooses the broom. You can't just tell an ISTP, for example, you know, what they need to sweep and then tell them how to sweep it. You can never do that. They are so insta-triggered. Why? It's because of SE parent. SE parent has such mechanical mastery, has such physical mastery. They literally are masters of the physical environment. They can manipulate and see all of the patterns basically laid within the physical environment, within like the literal Fibonacci, and they are masters of the Fibonacci, where they can just change anything that they want as long as their hands have the capability to actually move the environment or shape the environment or craft the environment as they see fit, and bend it to their will. And they're able to do that because they have anti-child, they know what they want to do, and they're able to bend physics to their will. Literal physics benders, the craftsmen. I love that because they are able to make the coolest things. I actually partnered up with a craftsman at one point in time, and I owned my own firearms manufacturing company, and the ISTP was a partner, and they taught me how to build guns and how to manufacture guns and how to run an assembly line and how to run a mill. And it was the most amazing experience. I even did a sandblaster. I never used a sandblaster. Can you imagine that? An ENTP operating a sandblaster? You're out of your mind. I know I was. But the point was that we were able to make these amazing products. Cost us $900 a unit to make, and we sold them for $2,500 a pop. And like, you know, Seattle police were some of our customers at the time, and we had a really good company. It was a great run up until the point where, like, you know, the Russians invaded Crimea, which caused Obama to put an embargo on Russia, and I couldn't import parts anymore, and I ended up causing my company to go down in flames, and then I literally had nothing after that. And I was totally screwed. Thank God I got, like, you know, a job at a hospital running their IT data centers. Thank God for that, because I would have been completely screwed. But I got lucky, and very happy that it happened. But regardless, that ISTP was able to mentor me. That's the key. The ENFJ is known as the mentor. The mentor, super important, because you ever want to make an ISTP happy? Ask them for advice. Because the ISTP, they're at their best when they are teaching other people how to do things. That's like, if you're going to have like shop class and whatnot, you're going to want an ISTP to do it so that they can mentor other people on how to use the equipment properly, how to use the tools properly. Oh, and by the way, don't move tools on an ISTP. If you move tools on an ISTP and do not tell them where those tools were before, because they have such low SI, that low hard drive space, they're not really going to be able to remember where those tools are. And if you move those tools, that's the fastest way to make them rage. You want that SE rage to go Super Saiyan and completely own you, potentially beat you to a pulp or verbally destroy you, then that's the best thing you could do. Just start moving their shit around. And it's like, oh crap, maybe I shouldn't put that tool there. Maybe I should put it exactly where I found it. Because if it's not exactly where I found it, then I'm basically lighting myself on fire. Or actually, you know, dumping a whole bunch of gasoline on myself and handing a match to the ISTP and be like, hey man, just like light it up, you know, come at me bro. And then the ISTP's like, don't move my tools next time. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't do that. And my grandfather, you know, bless his heart, but if he moved his tools, it was hell to pay every time. Don't do that. So SE parent is responsible with the physical environment, and it is able to craft amazing experiences and sensations, and have lots of shared experience with other people. They have such mechanical mastery. ISTPs, if they've never been, like, for example, water, paddleboarding or water skiing before, they can just straight up, just first time going, off to water skiing and do it just perfectly fine, as if they've always been able to do that. Why? It's because their mind has that mechanical genius. They're just able to see how physics and simple machines comes together in one harmonious circle, and they're able to use that, and their body is a tool in the same way that the physical environment is a tool, and they are able to do those physical feats with, it just seems like it's just effortless to them. And no, it's because they have that mechanical genius inside of their mind that is able to actually get to them to that point, right? That's literally how it works. So, and yeah, well, my grandfather, he never water skied before, and he just did it one day, and there he goes, going off for it, no problem, you know. They have that ability. They could just pick it up and go. Oh, I've never snowboarded before. Expert. Oh, I've never skateboarded before. Expert. I've never longboarded before. Expert. Welcome to ISTPs, like the literal jack of all trades. Absolutely, this is the literal jack of all trades type. It is the ISTP. I know that I talked about that a little bit with the INTJs, but it's a little bit different. They actually can master all of those trades. The difference is that when they've mastered it, and then once they've used that skill, do they actually retain that skill? Only if they care about it, then they will retain it. The ISTP is a little bit different. They're going to be that jack of all trades. They may not master, you know, all of them except for what they choose to specialize in, but they're still going to retain all of those other previous skilled experiences and be able to fit them together in this amazing framework where they're able to actually, you know, complete those projects that they have. I don't know a single ISTP that's not tinkering around on something. They're always tinkering. And, you know, if you want to give them a good gift, give them something to tinker with. Hey, figure this out. I have no idea, you know, or hey, there's this weird car part, or hey, what about this upgrade, or, you know, do you have this tool? This tool is really cool, but I don't know what it's even used for, and it was very peculiar, so I thought you might want to take a look. Oh yeah, man, I know exactly what this is for. It's for this, and this, and this, and this, and this, you know, and they'll tell you all the attributes about it. It's like, okay, that was kind of cool. I did not expect that whatsoever, if you know what I mean. So, anyway. So yeah, SE parent. And NI child, ISTPs, they literally have that liquid luck, you know, unlike the INTPs. It's because their NI child is so innocent with what it wants, so divine in its nature, that it's like a little kid walking across a minefield and none of the mines explode, and they could go back and forth through the minefield and nothing bad will ever happen to the kid, because somehow they just have close call after close call after close call after close call after close call. It just seems like they always have an angel with them, and it's like the hand of God is intervening on their behalf consistently, and they're just getting through life that way. And it's like, how the hell do you even do it? And it's just like, are you just making up as it goes? And it's like, no, man, I got this. You know, things just kind of work out for me. And guess what? That's NI child. All about, you know, making it work out for them. So, INTPs, let's look at them. INTPs, we talked about TI hero, but any parent is able to see the metaphysics, the metaphysical realm. Like, for example, Albert Einstein, with his metaphysical mastery, for example, he was able to do thought experiments based off of theoretical concepts and use his ingenuity, right, because he's ingenious, because he's an NT, to create the theory of relativity. And the theory of relativity was as a result of him performing thought experiments in his mind, and he just understood all the attributes and created a systematic framework within his mind to, again, create the theory of relativity and the theory of energy that we have, that we utilize with most of our physics calculations today. And then as a result of those abstract concepts, we're able to actually get even deeper into theoretical physics as a result. And we could talk about things like warp drive and time travel, as well as, you know, potential space exploration, etc., all as a result, as well as, like, you know, astrophysics as we know, all because of Einstein's theories, all because of his abstract thought experiments, which came as a result of any parent combining with TI hero. Any parent is also very aware of the intentions other people have, what people want, what people desire. SE parent, a little different with ISTPs, is aware of what people are doing, or they are aware of the experiences that other people want to have, or the experiences that other people want to share with them. So they're both kind of aware of want. It's just what are they wanting, right? This is more of a, like, their understanding of the intentions behind people, and the intentions of people, what they want to do before they do it. Or this is all about, this is the experience. I'm aware of the experience that this person wants to receive. I'm aware of the flavor or the taste of this dish that this person wants to have. And I'm going to craft this amazing dish and be this amazing cook. And I'm going to craft this dish and give this dish to this person and give them that flavor, that taste that they are looking for, right? That they are seeking, right? Both types want to be sought out by others. But it's about, for the INTP, they want to be wanted, right? They want to feel the desire, the passion of another human being for them. Whereas the ISTP is very similar, whereas someone seeking to receive that sensation, seeking to receive that pleasure, that gift that only they can give, right? Or that lesson that only they can give, or that important knowledge that only they can give, right? Whereas with an INTP, it's different. It's all about the desire. It's like the intent. What is the intention here? I have positive intentions for you, and the INTP totally gets off on that, right? It's all about intent, right? Versus it's all about the experience or the sensation or the sensual, right? On the ISTP side. So that's the differences between the two. If you're not sure if you're an ISTP or an INTP, just understand that, right? Trying to be like super practical with this lecture right now and trying not to like get crazy because I don't want to scare off the ISTPs, if you know what I mean. So yeah, NI child's also about willpower. They can literally will themselves through anything. And if there's something about NI child, guess what? They always figure out a way to solve their problem. I like my cousin, he's also an ISTP. He owns his own company, and he's a self-made man. It's probably a multi-million-dollar company right now, and he just worked really hard. He's in HVAC, and he's done really well for himself. And I would be on job sites with him, and we'd get confronted with these things, and just watching that SE parent mechanical genius, you know, like no ISTP would ever admit that they're a genius. Why? Because that's very TE. They worry about labels, right? And they don't feel anything because of FI demon, because it's not about what they feel, it's about what's true or false. And they can't exactly accept that what you're saying, oh, you're a genius, to like a TI hero ISTP. They're not really going to accept that. So like I had to voice say that because they don't like labels, because their TE nemesis worries about labels, and they're very questioning and confrontational towards labels. So if you call an ISTP a genius, they're kind of like, well, okay, hold on, are you trying to manipulate me right now? Why are you saying that? Why are you even being nice to me? Why are you even telling me that, like, you respect me? What are you trying to put, what's your game? What's your angle? What are you putting over on me right now? What's your intention? Even though I have, like, no concept of your intention because I have any trickster, and they're, like, completely unaware of hostile intent sometimes, which can be a very bad weakness to the ISTP. Luckily, people like me exist, or SI users exist, because SI users can see things before they happen and provide warning and protection to SPs to protect them from those hostile intentions of other human beings, or potentially bad events that are possible that haven't happened yet, but we see, hey, this bad event is coming in your direction, you might get hit by this bus, please get out of the way. And the ISTP looks at us, it's like, okay, yes, I get to get out of the way. Oh wow, there's the bus. How did you know that the bus is coming? I didn't even see it coming. It's like, sorry man, got it handled. Although that's not really the best example, because SE parent would definitely like see the bus coming because it's like a physical thing. So it'd have to be like this like non-physical thing, like potentially an ENFP trying to take advantage of the ISTP, and I see the ENFP's game, and then I go to the ISTP and I warn them about the ENFP's like stupid, you know, rumor mill lies that they're constantly going with, because, you know, in the absence of communication or explanation, perceptions become reality, right? And they're always trying to play that game and manipulate with their any hero, that NI child, and manipulate TI hero with TE child, because the hero likes to hang out with the kid, if you know what I mean. So that can be a serious issue. With INTPs, it's a little bit different. INTPs with their SI child, it's all about being comfortable, right? And they're always seeking comfort. They're always seeking the experiences that they want to have, the things that they want to taste, and as a result of that, they are also very dutiful. They do what they should do. They're all about should. It's not about what they want, whereas with ISTPs, it's all about what they want. INTPs, it's all about what they should do. What is their obligation? And that's kind of in general how they go about doing it. they can get stuck in their comfort zone, which can lead to failure to launch syndrome, whereas ISTPs, they can get stuck in analysis paralysis, which leads them into failure to launch syndrome. Both types are capable of getting the failure to launch syndrome, but to get outside of that, they have to, INTPs have to have self-discipline and force themselves to do things even if they don't like it, whereas ISTPs just need to be okay with failure and just want to do things and see how it works. Literally trial and error everything with the ISTP. The ISTP needs to trial and error absolutely everything, whereas the INTP needs to actually experience everything and experience the full band. Again, it's pretty trial and error. It's just they go about it differently. Both of them trial and error because they just have to see what works. Is this going to work? No. I'm going to fail this 1,000 times. What worked? Okay, this worked great. We'll do that. Nope, all these didn't work. Well, another 1,000 times. Let's see how it goes. And just figure it out. But guess what? Both types eventually will figure it out. I mean, we have iPhones, which is what this is filmed on right now. And thank you, that came from INTPs, because Steve Wozniak, he's like an INTP. That's pretty nice. Eventually, they see the what if, and they're going to get there, right? Or the ISTP sees the what is, and they can manipulate the what is and change the what is in such a way to get a completely different result. They're like alchemists. They're like, they're able to transmute the physical matter from one form into another, whereas the INTP is able to take a form that they imagine in the ether and actually bring it into reality. That's completely different, right? Something that doesn't even exist yet and then bring it into existence, whereas the ISTP is already able to manipulate what already exists and turn it into something else in existence. That's really the main difference between the two, right? And that's why you see the ISTP working with a lot of tools and you see the INTP working with a lot of concepts, right? It's very different, conceptual and design-based, and then they get to the tools, whereas the ISTP starts the tools, and then they end up developing concepts down the road after they've already been tinkering with the tools. It's just two sides of the same coin, trying to get to the same place, but they're going about it completely different ways, and both ways are valid. It's just kind of weird that ISTPs judge INTPs because ISTPs are actually more common than INTPs, and INTPs are rare. And because they kind of have a majority, there is some bias there, especially bias against INTPs. Oh, INTPs, you're weird, or you're irregular, or you're abnormal, so I'm going to judge you that way. Yeah, ISTPs, please don't do that. Recognize that everyone is human and everyone has a type. You need to understand those types so that you can have relationships with them and stop judging them unfairly, because you're technically it's not true. It's not literally not true. Your whole perspective about human beings as a result is actually technically a lie because it's not true. And maybe you should be verifying. Verify people's psyches around you so that you are not having this really bad biased point of view that is hurting fellow human beings around you because of a potential biased point of view that you have, right? INTPs, stop going super mega apathetic when things don't go your way. I mean, come on, you're being a baby. Stop being a baby and, learn how to take your hits, but at the same time, learn how to fire back. If you're just going to roll over to people, especially to ISTPs, they're not going to respect you. So don't roll over to them. Stand up for yourself. Have the self-discipline to stand up for yourself and criticize your opponent. Use your TI hero. That's what it's for. It's for critiquing. Critique everything. Both of you types need to critique things. Everything needs to be lit on fire to see if it will stand up to the criticism. Will it stand? Is it flame retardant? We need to find out. The ISTP's like, okay, I got my fire extinguisher and I got my flamethrower, and okay, flamethrower, go. TI hero, truth. Okay, flame retardant. You know what I mean? And somehow it works out. INTP, you gotta have the same type of perspective, except, probably won't want to not use a flamethrower. I'm sure you have other things, maybe a neutron bomb or something like that. But, I mean, hey, whatever floats your boat. The point is, verify everything. Absolutely everything. Verify people's beliefs, call them out on their incorrect beliefs, and show them how it is. And use logic. It's like, oh, well, if you think that's true, then that would mean that is true, and we all know that's actually a lie, which means you're full of crap. Get away from me. definitely do that. TI Hero, and I get that TI Hero can, yes, it can alienate people around you, but if those people cannot stand up to the criticisms that you offer, those people should not be close to you. Of course, well, what if I work with them and then I have no choice? Well, I mean, obviously you need to obey, you know, the rules of your workplace so you don't like lose your job or nothing, and obviously you should be wise because, you know, harmless as dove is wise as serpents, as Jesus said. But at the end of the day, if you have people like, you know, friends and whatnot, even family, if they can't stand up to your criticism, they probably shouldn't be in your life. So just be aware of that. That's kind of an issue. Like that's a big problem. So anyway, got a crick in my neck for some reason. Yeah, just slightly there. Anyway, so ISTPs, INTPs, verify everything. Something my former ISTP boss taught me, and this goes for both types: trust what someone says, but always verify. It's very important that ISTPs and INTPs do this, but it's even more important for ISTPs to do it because INTPs are very aware of the intentions of other people, but ISTPs are not aware of the intentions of other people. So if the ISTP is always verifying what people are saying, they are less likely that they're going to be taken advantage of and less likely that they're going to be manipulated by other human beings. It's very important that they verify. Trust what people say, but verify. It's one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned about ISTPs, and it's super important for both types. Because, you know, if the INTP is verifying that what someone's saying, the INTP is like realizing that there's a pattern of behavior where they're being abused or a pattern of behavior where they're being taken advantage of because of how caring they are. Because guess what? They have the supporter as their ESFJ. The supporter is very supportive. This is what causes INTPs to become huge doormats. This is like literally the doormat. And they're so insecure of making other people feel bad that they end up being taken advantage of other people. If they're constantly trusting what people say but verifying just in case, after a while they'll start to notice with their SI child and any parent that there is a pattern of behavior, of abuse, of them being taken advantage of, and maybe they should take action. So you have to have the self-discipline to verify what other people say, INTPs. Make it happen. Seriously. ISTPs have to do it or else they're going to get screwed with people trying to put one over on them. But you guys need to do it so that you actually get off your butts and solve problems instead of being stuck in your comfort zone because you're too lazy to do it yourself because your comfort zone is more important than anything else for some reason. Even sometimes, in most cases, I've noticed the INTP is even more important than your own family. How about you like wake up and don't do that? Like, explain to me, INTPs, how it's important for you to stay in like a bullshit marriage where you have children. You're like, well, I want to stay for the children, you know, because that's the right thing to do. No, it's not. You're just teaching your children to repeat the same stupid cycle of crappy marriage and crappy relationships in their adulthood. How about maybe you actually divorce that abusive woman who is taking advantage of you, or abusive man who is taking advantage of you, so that your children will actually learn self-respect because obviously you have self-respect now. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. ISTPs, that can actually happen to you guys too, but not so bad because as the parents, like, I see what you're doing, I'm not going to stand for that. And ISTPs statistically end up having and utilizing more self-respect than INTPs do because INTPs just get stuck in this rut of their comfort zone and they need to get out of their comfort zone. They need to have self-respect so that they can leave those horrible relationships so that their children will end up respecting them and their children will also learn self-respect and not repeat the same cycle of mistakes. Yes, that's literally me telling you, get divorced. Do not harm your children. Staying in those relationships is harming your children and destroying their future. Wow, you're a great parent. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway. So yeah, FE inferior, all about how other people feel, right? And it's very insecure about how other people feel. It wants people to feel good. It wants people to feel great. It wants people to feel better, to increase their worth, right? It wants to increase the worth of other people. ISTPs love it, especially they so get off on it when you ask them for advice. And when you give them recognition and you show how you appreciate them for the experiences that they give you, for the help that they give you, for the advice that they give you, because they want to become this benevolent mentor where they know for a fact that they're doing the good thing by investing in someone else and showing them how to do things and cultivating skills and other human beings and making them stronger and more capable and more effective. That's like basically what every ISTP has ever done for me, thank God. And thank you ISTPs for that. And also, you know, the INTP does it. Then when they get over their fear and they're very not afraid of making people feel good anymore, then they actually become super mega caring, very dutiful, very loving people, very caring people. Let me tell you something, folks. Never tell these types that they are bad people. Never tell these types that they are soulless. Never tell these types that they do not know how they feel. I mean, they don't really care how they feel. It's not about that. They care how you feel. They exist to make you feel better. They, like, how did you, like, not understand that by now? Like, seriously. They exist to make you feel better. Let them make you feel better. It's very important. Let other people make you, let these types make you feel better, and do not take away their opportunities to contribute. They need to be able to contribute, especially in the home, especially in the families. If you are taking away their opportunity to contribute, you're only sabotaging your own relationship. They literally want to contribute to you. The INTP feels it is their duty to contribute to you and the family and the relationship, etc. that you're in, friendship or otherwise, family or otherwise. The ISTP is different. They actually have the desire to do it. It's not about duty, although sometimes they do kind of feel like it is their duty every now and then, but not as much as what they want to do. And they're choosing of their own free will to be helpful, caring, benevolent, you know, giving you advice. They're fantastic this way. Both types worry about labels. Both types worry about the intelligence of other people. Both types worry that everyone else around them is stupid. And it can get bad with ISTPs because they could see someone doing something and then that person, oh, they're failing. I need to interrupt what they're doing and do it right for them. No, ISTPs, stop doing that. Instead, let that other person fail. Ask them if they need help to show you how to do it right, and then you can become the mentor and mentor that person. If you're just going in and interrupting what they're doing and then doing it right for them because you don't trust that they're able to do it right, if you're just doing that, you're actually stunting that person's growth and you are not actually helping them. Do not do that. Now, obviously, there's still situations where it could be an emergency, and yes, you need to step in and get it handled. Please do that by all means. That's great. INTPs, it's a little bit different. If they put you in the stupid zone, wow, that guy's really stupid, they're just gonna like turn on their apathetic button and then basically ignore you. You do not exist. Wow, I'm like indifferent to you. Go away, you know? And they're just gonna do their own thing and not have anything to do with you. Okay? INTPs don't do this. You need to allow people to be stupid, because guess what? Not everybody is as smart as you are. I'm sorry, it's a fact. You're brilliant. We all know you're brilliant. It's okay. Allow other people to be dumb. Ask them if they want your support, to support them through what they're doing, to show them how they would want to do it if necessary. Otherwise, then don't. But don't treat them like crap because you think they're stupid. You know, it just, yes, I get that you're very, very intelligent, but you don't need to worry so much about people being stupid around you. You might be pleasantly surprised if you would have the patience and just wait and see. Yes, I understand after a while you'll actually be able to predict what they're going to do before they do it. Yeah, sure, but just realize that sometimes if you're not at least offering to help, if you're not offering to support this person in some way, shape, or form, or at least show them a different way of doing things every now and then, and just kind of check on them and whatnot, so that they don't always stay stupid, etc., that's kind of on you. So recognize your responsibility. It's your duty to make sure that you are helping these people in some way, shape, or form. It is. You got to be supportive. Please be supportive. And guess what? Because of how supportive you are, those people feel endeared to you, and then you would actually be able to, like, you know, be loyal to them, potentially be friends, and have like relationships with them, instead of like closing yourself off to people because you're like, well, that person's too stupid for me to hang out. I'm not even going to waste my time. How about you just don't jump to conclusions about people? That'd be nice. I mean, I could say the same about ISTPs for other reasons, but that'd be nice. SI critic, the past, all about discipline. Uh, ISTPs swear that they remember absolutely everything because of psych critic, and I'm sorry, ISTPs, you're actually like really forgetful, and I'm one of those people who has written down everything that you have forgotten, and thrown that list in your face and saying, on this date and this time, you've forgotten this, and I went down a huge list and had them get super mad at me when I did it, but they so deserved it, because I was tired of the ISTP telling me how they remember something when I, who have SI inferior, remember things way better than they do. I am so sick of it. Right? So I would do this and be like, no, ISTPs, that's actually how it went down this way, right? It's give and take, because SE parent is able to store their memories into physical objects utilizing some form of psychometry, basically, where a physical object like a tool or whatnot, they remember all the other uses that they've ever done with that tool and how they have that personal relationship with this particular tool. Oh, that's Old Faithful. That's what my ISTP cousin calls his shotgun that he would win the state championship for in Washington State with clay pigeon shooting, for example, skeet shooting, and he called it Old Faithful because he had a really special relationship with that tool and how it brought him so much success, for example, because it's a totem. His memories are attached to the physical environment with extroverted sensing, right? Whereas INTPs don't have the thing. They just remember everything anyway by default. They just straight up remember, which is kind of cool. I like how they remember everything. And ISTPs kind of also do remember everything when ISTPs aren't claiming themselves that they remember everything, which can be a problem. SI critic also can come out with some form of duty, and SI critic has like what I call loose duty. They take some traditional gender roles, especially in marriage or family or fatherhood or motherhood, very seriously, sometimes even too seriously. It's like they have out of nowhere this insane expectation for traditionalism, and you're like, whoa, I didn't even realize that like you cared about that. And that can cause whiplash for people, so like watch out for that. Anti-critic with INTPs are difficult because it just inhibits them from doing what people want, because they realize that everyone else is irresponsible with what they want, so they do not allow themselves to want things. And if they really want to do something, or if someone's trying to motivate them, they automatically see that as manipulation. Or when ISTPs, someone's trying to show them something that they've done, ISTPs are like, yeah, I already know all about that, don't even bother showing me. Or, okay, are you telling me that what I'm doing is crap? Are you saying what I'm doing is bad? Are you saying what I'm doing is not as good as you? I'm going to prove you wrong. And it turns into like this huge competition where the ISTP will prove that their TI hero is absolutely correct in absolutely everything. Of course, INTPs do that too, but I'm just telling you how it applies with an ISTP, for example. Craftsmen can get that way. Because they're like literally that person that they always have something to prove, because it's like, I'm going to show you, SE parent, what I know, TI hero. And I'm going to build this amazing, crazy contraption, and then I'm going to test it out myself and prove to you that it works. You know what I mean? It's totally like that Tim Allen thing, like the Binford, gosh, what does it call it? The Binford Wood Chipper 5000, and it's got this huge motor with tons of horsepower on the back. Going, it's just a wood chipper, right? And again, that's the ISTP way. And gosh, gotta love the old Tool Time days. And everyone like remembers that show and they call it Tool Time, even though like had nothing to do with the actual title of the show, which was Home Improvement. But whatever, it was a great show, I guess. I mean, maybe people liked Jonathan Taylor Thomas a lot. That's probably why it was successful. Who knows? Anyway. So yeah, any trickster, we already talked about any trickster. Hold on, I'm missing something here. SE parent again, ISTPs see other people being irresponsible with the physical environment, irresponsible with their skills, irresponsible with mechanics and whatnot, and because of that, they are very choosy about the experiences that they allow themselves to have, including very choosy about the things that they eat, very choosy about the clothing they wear, even though, especially some ISTP women, they're totally fine just being in Carhartts and hanging out, you know what I mean? But still, like, it's practical. What is going to work? What is going to help me achieve goals? What is going to help me, get things done? What is going to help me get my objectives done, right? It's not necessarily that they're prioritizing, looking in a very nice snazzy dress, because at the moment you never know, they need to pull out a wrench and fix something, right? Because I mean, ISTPs, especially ISTP women, they're still grease monkeys at the end of the day, or potential grease monkeys, or they could be, because they never know at any moment, hey, I might need to tinker around on this thing, and I might need to get dirty, so I'm gonna wear clothing where I can get dirty in just in case, you know what I mean? And they do that, right? And some types actually appreciate that. ISTJs, ESTJs really appreciate that about ISTPs with how practical they are, because they know that their STP counterparts will be very useful in a pinch, right? And the ISTJs and ESTJs are afraid of getting into a pinch and afraid of the inconvenience of being in a pinch. Thank God my ISTP's here, because they're like totally going to bail me out with their amazing mechanical skill. Wow, I'm so glad my wife could change a tire. Yes, I've literally seen that. Even though STJs could do it themselves, but they're just like so not in the mood to handle it themselves, and then like their ISTP wife is like, "Don't worry, I got this," and then she pulls everything out of the back of the car and changes the tire, and they're back on the road right quick, and the STJ is like, "Oh, thank God I married this woman." Oh, I so am not in the mood to change this tire right now. I've just had a really rough day, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? And it just works out. It just works out great. So, and so we talked about any trickster. FI demon. So the demon functions basically with ISTPs. Always give them recognition. Always tell them you appreciate them. Always thank them for their advice. Thank them for them being useful and for helping you. It is very important that you do this. If you do not give them recognition, they will go FI demon mode. It's like, you don't feel good about me? Fine, I'll take care about my feelings. When that happens, they go in their INFP, and then things all of a sudden just start spontaneously combusting around them. It's like everything they touch just starts burning, because they're literally burning on fire at that point, and they'll burn down everything that they've ever built for you, basically. Gone, wiped out. Because everything they ever made for you is just this giant totem, this giant, and it turns into this giant bonfire, like, you know, like that Burning Man event that's going on right now. Like, literally, your house that they built for you is literally will be a Burning Man effigy, if you know what I'm saying. Because ISTPs do not want to be reminded of their horrible relationship that they had with you, where you never gave them the recognition or you were not loyal to them, because SE parent requires absolute loyalty. It requires loyalty. It needs loyalty. And FE inferior needs to be appreciated and be given recognition for what it does. It is very important. Otherwise, they're just going to destroy your reputation. They're going to destroy, you know, they're going to have that Burning Man effigy. And they're also going, yeah, I mean, they're going to destroy your future, like completely burn down your future. Do not allow that. I mean, I don't know how many times where I've heard ISTP say, well, if my wife cheated on me with another man, you know, I mean, like, murder-suicide is definitely an option for me. I have heard that multiple times from ISTP super egos and their INFP super egos talking, and I was like, whoa, that is like really scary. But sorry, I mean, that's a fact. I have witnessed that with my own eyes from multiple ISTPs, right? It's because it's like, wow, if you're not really going to be, you know, loyal to me, then why am I even here? Why am I even bothered? If you're not going to value me after everything I've done for you, right? That's the issue. That's how they go in their super ego, right? INTPs is a little different. INTPs, FI demon. We talked about anti-critic. Oh, SE trickster. We didn't really talk about SE trickster. SE trickster. Yeah, I'm really tired. SE trickster is just completely unaware of the physical environment in the same way that ISTPs are unaware of the metaphysical environment. They're not aware of other people's intentions. They're not aware of like potential bad things happening to them. INTPs are just not aware of the physical environment. This is what inhibits them with their fashion sense. So ISTPs technically have way better fashion sense than INTPs by default, by literal default. Unless the INTP is specifically trained to be fashionable, they're just not going to figure it out. They need to have some kind of training, whereas the SE parent of the ISTP will technically kind of figure out fashion on their own just fine, whereas the INTP will not. They need to be specifically trained. SE trickster can be a problem. They start dropping things. They just have no real environmental awareness around them, to the point where, and short-term memory is really hard. When you're talking to an INTP and trying to like do a sales presentation to them, they need to have time to go unwind, get some solitude, unpack, and literally just think about everything that they heard and absorb it and reflect. They have to reflect on absolutely everything. You cannot ask an INTP what they think or have them make a decision until after they've spent time reflecting on that subject matter. If they've done zero reflection on the subject matter, just like, what? Yeah, no. Don't do that. And yeah, they're going to be dropping things and they're going to be breaking things, and they get pretty frustrated when something breaks, you know, especially ISTPs. They also get super mega frustrated when something breaks because they know how finite physical objects are and how finite, you know, mechanics are. But, you know, while INTPs are not as aware of that, they are at risk of breaking things and dropping things, and, you know, yeah, the fashion sense issue, because they're just not aware. Also, like, even smelling bad in some cases, you're just not aware of the experience or the sensations that they are giving other people. And it's really rough when you meet an SE trickster who's homeless, because them bathing and being completely unaware that their stench is literally like absolutely noxious in some cases is really bad. I have met an INTP homeless man. It was the worst smell I've ever smelled in my entire life. It was the smell of death and decomposed and rot, and I couldn't believe it. And all I wanted to do was like get the man into a bathtub. The problem is I realized that that wouldn't even do any good, because it was like caked on. It was like one with his skin. There's nothing you could do about it. It was the most nasty experience I've ever had as SI inferior, and that's how bad SE trickster can get. Yeah, don't let that happen. FI demon for the INTP is very similar to the ISTP. So except for them, it's the ISFP. And instead of like reacting in the way that the INFP demon would, I mean, they're just going to grab a hammer and go pop. One of the best portrayals I've ever seen of this would probably be Daredevil Season 1 on Netflix right now, where you have the Kingpin. And the Kingpin, he's an INTP. And the Kingpin gets stuck in his ENTJ shadow, and his father's super abusive, and he kills his father because he goes FI demon superego and literally takes a hammer to his father's head, essentially. That was the best portrayal on television I've ever seen of an INTP superego. So when the Kingpin literally just goes bam right into his father's skull, killing his dad. It's his first kill, basically, within the story, and it's really horrible and grotesque a scene, but it just really shows you the power of FI demon inside of an INTP, and I recommend watching it just for that example. So how does it get this way? Like, I've been so mega dutiful to you. I've done everything I should do, and you don't even want me anymore, obviously, and you don't ever give me the recognition I deserve, and I know I deserve it because I work really hard for you and this family, and or this school or this position, so screw you. I'm just going to destroy everything. I actually had this happen to me in my career, where an INTP who was absolutely unappreciated for all the amazing, brilliant things that he did for this particular company, and then he created a logic bomb inside of their IT network, which completely wiped them out. Wiped out all of their data, wiped out all of everything that they were doing. Their VMware environment's destroyed, their SAP was destroyed, their backups were destroyed, their disaster recovery was destroyed, and the only reason they still exist today is because my team and I were able to actually restore that data through the flat files and bring them back and bring their SAP back, and then they're still in business to this day. But all because that INTP went FI demon, left a logic bomb that went off a certain time after he was let go, and he believed that that was very super unfair, and his any parent saw it coming, and he set that up. And last I heard, he was like prosecuted and potentially like he went to jail for it. I don't know. But again, that's FI demon. He literally destroyed their entire environment with his ISFP, and it was kind of artistic and very systematic. He just left a few things out, like, you know, flat files on top of storage arrays, which I was able to get to, and then restore actual virtual machines and bring their environment back up, and they're still in business. But, I mean, yeah, that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You know, their ISFP superego, when it's burning everything down, it can get pretty sloppy and leave a few things out, but that's the point. I mean, don't do this. Just give them the recognition they deserve, seriously, and state what you want, state your intentions, and have good intentions around them, but seriously, give them what they deserve. They need it, okay? Same with ISTPs. Give them what they deserve. They need it. Give them that recognition. They're starving for that recognition. Although they get really uncomfortable when you offer them recognition, unless they know for a fact that, yes, I do deserve this recognition. Otherwise, they're just going to think you're manipulating them. So you don't want to do it too much, but you don't want to do it too little either. Also, because they both have FI demon, never ask them how they feel about anything. Like, seriously, do not ask these people how they feel. They're indifferent to their own feelings. They don't care how they feel. They just care what's true or false. Make it about your feelings. They want to hear about how you feel about them. They don't care about what they feel. And stop accusing them of being soulless. You know, you are soulless if you are accusing your INTP or your ISTP of being soulless. Yeah, because that means, like, you're abusive. Stop doing it to them. They don't deserve it. Anyway, if you found this lecture useful, helpful, educational, enlightening, insightful, etc., please subscribe to the channel here on YouTube and on the podcast, and leave a like and a comment below if you have any questions about these types. If you haven't been on our Discord server yet, check that out too. I'm doing a Q&A session this Friday. If you want to get your question in for that Q&A session, please join the Discord. The link is below in the description of this lecture. And also, if you want to get in on our meetup group in the Bay Area and also in other locations as well, please make that happen. I will try to have a bit more foresight when I am scheduling meetups, and I'm also looking for some organizers to help with the meetups. That would be fantastic. The meetups are likely going to be going national very soon, so just be aware of that. So yeah, we got a couple of live streams coming up, and a few more regular episodes as we're moving along through, and also an upcoming social engineering episode, which people are waiting for as well. So a lot to do, so many more lectures to do. Like, I have over 800 of them, so that's awesome. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow night in Denver.